people are like, where are they? Sorry, guys. Ron and I were talking, and we were looking at this sectional chart. And just to give you a heads up, a part of what we're going to talk about tonight. So without any further ado, let me get back over here and start pressing the right buttons. Sorry, guys. We were jabbering, talking about
class. I know our producer took the night off again.
We were talking about class. And here I was.
When you talk about section charts, you all lose all focus.
All right, here we go. Howdy, folks. Like I said, Ron and I were talking about this very thing. And I was like, well, do you want me to get a sectional chart ready? And he was like, well, I could go to, speaking of, let me get that rolling too. I want to go ahead and give our props out here. Yes, please check out remotepilot101.com for the full course. That's what we'll be pulling from. That's what Ron used to get his 107. That's what I'm currently using. That's what John also has in his arsenal. So please don't forget to go check it out over there. And I'm going to go ahead and unshare this for now. Stop share. I still got that. So before we really roll into anything, I just want to let's go around the room and start off with John Cuppi and see what's going on with you this week, sir. Anything new?
Good evening, guys. Yes, a little something new. I've ordered a GoPro Hero 8 Black, and I'm going to decase it. I'm going to take the battery out, take all the internals out, and make it like a really, really lightweight camera. I'm hoping it goes well. If anybody's got any tips for how to do that, I would super appreciate it. Anything to look out for if anybody in the audience has done that, because that's going to be crazy. And yeah, it's been pretty cold, unfortunately. Really, really cold. No way to fly outside, so I'm just waiting for spring to come. I got my hat.
I think we all are. Roll over.
I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on to Ron Brown.
Thank you, John. And John, I would love to see you decase that Hero 8 live on the show some night.
Oh God, I'm not brave enough to do that, Ron.
Yeah, we could get all of the you can use all the knowledge of YouTube to help you do it live on the show. Also, all kidding aside, you should make a video about it. I know it's going to be hard because it's one of those things you're going to do in parts, but you should like film it all and then edit it down to like 5 minutes. That would be really interesting. Even though I probably would never do it because I don't, I'll probably never be that into FPV, but it would just be kind of cool since I am a GoPro aficionado.
Ron, I'll take your suggestion into account. I'm actually going to do that. I'm actually going to do that anyway because I've put a lot of research into, how to do this right, because you only get one shot. And if you screw it up, that's it. So I've learned a lot and I picked up a lot from just researching and studying the groups. So I'm definitely going to make a video about it. Hopefully I don't screw it up. And if I do, then people can learn from it.
Hey, one quick question. I know we're getting the show here, but why did you choose the 8 over the 7?
So I chose the 8 over the. I chose the 8. So here's an interesting thing: the 7 actually has a worse. Actually has worse metadata. So if you want to put it through Real Steady or something like that, it's actually worse than the GoPro Hero 6, which is cheaper. So I actually don't really see a reason to buy the 7. And the 8 has Hypersmooth 2.0, which is pretty darn good, just right out of the box. And that's probably what I'm gonna use pretty often, is just the Hypersmooth 2.0 and not worry about Real Steady.
Yeah, that's probably good. The only reason I kind of ask is because the lens is replaceable in the 7, user replaceable, where the lens on the 8 is not.
Yeah, I'm not really too worried about that because my plan to put what I'm going to do with this camera, I'm going to put it on like a little Cinewoop. I'm going to put it on maybe like a long range rig, stuff that's not designed to crash, stuff that I'm going to try to not really crash hard. So that's my goal.
Good, good. That's going to be really interesting because you know, I didn't have the Hero 8. I went from the 7 to the 9, but I know the quality of that is going to be unbelievable once you get it, you know, rigged up the way you want it.
Yeah, and I got a good price on it, Ron. I got it on eBay from somebody who was selling it without the battery in it and no accessories, no nothing, for $160. I mean, that's a hell of a deal.
And you don't need an accessory, just you need to get a fun battery, but
and you don't even need the battery, right? Because it gets the power from the drone. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah, it should be fun. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that is exciting. What's up with me? I went up to Atlantic City and got my COVID shot today, so I have dose 1 of the Pfizer, and I go back again on March 3rd for my second dose. And no, I haven't reached the age of 65 yet, but I qualify because I'm a heart patient. I got a heart stent in about I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Now I forget what year it was exactly. So that qualified me, but I still had to get in this big raffle. Of like, it was like over 30,000 people, and I don't know how many doses they have, but I was lucky to get in. So that's about it. I don't have a whole. I'm kind of like John. I haven't flown in weeks because the weather either it's snowing or raining, or if the sun's out, it's like wind gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour. It's never any heating in the middle of those two conditions. So I've mostly been doing a lot of like indoor reviews and, you know, GoPro related, you know, but I do have something coming up though, guys. I got in that Kickstarter for the PGY Tech one Go. They had a 1Mo bag out for more than a year that Russ over 51 Drones had, but they came out with the second one. It went on Kickstarter somewhere around the holidays, say around Thanksgiving. This is the 1Go. It's a little bit smaller. This is 18 liter, and the 1Mo was much bigger than this. I don't know the liter size.
That looks huge anyway.
That does.
But you know, I can't get as much gear in this as I can my regular camera bags. So this will be more for, you know, for like day trips or so, and rather than say cross country travel. But I'll do full video, and it's really customized. This is the place to go on about it, but I will have.
How would you all?
That absolutely makes sense.
How would you all like to try out one of these supposed new features of StreamYard?
Well, let's see it.
Well, supposedly I can just now share a video file without having to upload it. I can share it. I can play it through my computer and share it with you guys. And supposedly it works better. So you all were saying that you hadn't been able to fly, and I actually had been out. It was actually very, 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 very cold. And because of Sean, you know, what's the channel again, Ron? I don't want to get it wrong.
Air Photography.
Yes, Air Photography. Who was Look Ma No Hands last night on Philly Drone Life Live Philly and Ron Live on Philly Drone Life. So if you haven't, you need to go over there. It's like the unknown comic taking off his bag, or I don't know, man. Did
you see he had a Band-Aid? His hands were injured. He had a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah, he said he cut him or something. I thought that was kind of funny too. But he had a lot of issues with the C-Fly Faith too.
A lot of them related to iOS. He only had an iOS device to try it on.
Okay, but he had an Android tablet though. Remember?
Yeah.
He had a triple tech tablet.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I have not had those kind of issues because what the girl told me was because the little video shows the guy and he starts the controller and then he starts the drone. But because of the way that the controller connects to your phone, it's got a repeater in it, basically, right? So it needs the signal from the drone in order to repeat the video signal to your phone. So you turn the drone on first, then you turn on the controller, then you put the phone in the controller. But it takes just a tiny bit longer for it to connect. But I've never had any issues. It's not gotten crazy wonky. Like I saw his just going, and it was like cavitating and stuff. Mine doesn't.
And in Sean's defense, he's never messed with toy drones before. I mean, John, I've seen this whole repeater thing in the past. I can't think of the drone off the top of my head, but I've seen that before, where the controller is a repeater, so you have to pair it just right. So we we would have figured that out, but poor Sean's never flown anything but like
Oh no, I wasn't busting on him at all.
No, I know you know you're not.
So let me see which one I got.
That used to be a very
time that he doesn't have the toy drone experience.
All right, here let's see.
Yeah, that was a very common trick to extend the range of the toys, Ron.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I absolutely remember that. Wi-Fi repeaters.
Man.
That was a big. I think it was a Xiaomi Wi-Fi repeater, wasn't it, Ron? Something like that.
Yeah.
Have you all see that?
That's the Phase 2.
That's sharing straight from my computer.
Nice.
Air Photography did take down his review of the Phase. I never got to see it.
I think it's unlisted.
He's gonna re-edit it and repost it, John. It's like a 17-minute video. He's gonna cut it.
Now see, watch what I do with it. I just walk it right up here in these trees and set it there, man. I don't have any trouble with it. Was it? I think I had it sitting up there to begin with. Let me go back. Yeah, see, it's sitting up here in these trees, and you'll see me kind of.
No, it's stable.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
The yaw there. Do they have controllable yaw speeds in the app for this one, or
there's nothing going that far yet. The only thing about it right now that's in there is there's like maybe 3 of the actual camera portions work right now.
Yeah, they didn't have it for the Faith 1 either. I was just wondering because I remember that was one of my big complaints with my first flight of the Faith 1. I had flown up the river some 600 meters or something like that, and I actually had to do some cuts because the yaw movement was just so jerky.
Freezing my ass off, and I watch. It's so funny.
Well, again, John, harkening back to the toy drone era, you've had plenty of fast yaw drones in your day, right?
Oh yeah, of course. But with a drone like this, they really should make it so that you can adjust the yaw speed. It's really important. Hopefully they do. Hopefully they add it.
The thing about it is you terrified me, John. Let me put it that way. I think that it's actually gonna. Let's see now. How do I stop?
I terrified you. How?
Remove from stream. Wait a minute. It came from there. What is this? Remove from studio. Okay, cool. That's a weird way to unshare it. Let me think more on it, how to explain it, because I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to me, and I'll get
terrifying is a strong word, Bill.
I'm terrifying, Ron.
Yeah, that's a strong word.
Because you and Marcus both are so like, no, it's going to be garbage. And the minute I mentioned 1 or 2 things, yep, just like the Faith was, it's it was that. I was like, oh.
Okay.
Well, I know, but
okay,
right. There's the tendency in the community for anybody to dump on anything that's not labeled DJI.
No. He had the predecessor, and the app's basically the way it sounds is it's almost identical.
Listen, yeah, look, maybe the thing is me and Marcus are just desensitized to some of this stuff because when you get drone after drone after drone, it's like, okay, well, it is what it is. Usually with these non-DJI, non-Xiaomi type manufacturers. It is what it is, and they don't seem to improve it. And, C-Fly just doesn't have a good history. They don't. And, what are we going to do? Pretend it does? It is what it is.
John, I'm glad to hear you say that because I kind of said it more general last night on the show. They asked somebody asked about C-Fly, and I said they've released quite a few drones over the last 3, maybe 4 years, but most of them haven't been big successes. Well, I don't know, maybe financial, but to the customers. I'm glad to hear you back me up that they don't have the best reputation out in the community. So this drone. Do y'all have any idea why? Do you have any idea why I said terrified now? You're two of the people whose opinions I value the most, and you're like, well, that's basically,
Yeah, I mean, and it's tough to want to make comments after somebody's bought the thing because then I feel like, but I'm not going to lie to you and say,
why did I say it? And I was trying to word it without.
I'm not going to lie to you and say,
I've never flown a C-Fly, so I'm just talking what do you hearsay. I've never flown a C-Fly. Mine's all hearsay.
You know, Ron, at the time the C-Fly 1 came out about a year ago for like, what, 180 to 160, something like that. I think they were selling that thing for. I gotta be honest with you. If you can get it calibrated, it's not bad. Like, I actually enjoyed my first flight with the Faith 1. I didn't have any calibration issues. I flew it out. It was just fine. I really didn't have any major technical problems with it getting up in the air. So it wasn't bad, but it's like anything else. It's all about the price.
You can see I pushed it right in above those trees, and then here in a second you'll see you can see the holes in. See, I was looking at the birds, trying to stay sheltered from the birds.
No, I mean the camera definitely looks better.
I like the color profile. I like the colors on it.
Yeah, this is the actual file. This is the actual file. And you can see it's sitting there really good. And then it was sitting in that little hole. You can see that little hole I had it sitting in.
Mm-hmm.
And it flew right in there, no problems. And I wasn't worried about it at all. And the drunken gimbal seems to have cured itself.
So the horizon looks good, Bill.
And like John said, the color is really good.
Yeah, the color profile is like. Can you change the color profile on the Faith 2 or anything, or is it?
That's one of the few things that actually works. The things that don't work are like exposure, ISO.
Okay.
Which, to be honest with you, I was kind of like, wow, you all are just going to throw all this in the app and think it's going to work? Because I mean, to me, there's the things that actually work in the app work well. See, there was a little bump for overexposure right there. Did you see that? Because I tried to change the exposure to like cloudy, and it just wouldn't. You know.
And I mean, I don't like if they don't fix this stuff in the next few months or whatever. I don't see them being able to sell that drone for the price that they're asking for with one battery.
They wanted what was it, 500 or something to begin with.
Well, yeah, something like that. 400 for what they wanted, like 399 or 499. Ron, I can't remember.
Anyway,
now, Bill, to give you a little hope, when I got the Xeno 1, it had absolutely no camera settings at all. It was 4K 30.
Yeah, but you are talking. See, that's gorgeous.
But by 5 or 6 months later, by May, all the camera settings were there and they all worked. So
we'll see.
It has happened before, Bill.
It's a huge gamble, Ron. It's gonna be what it's gonna depend on is how serious does C-Fly want to take this? Do they want to really fix the problems with this thing, or is it just gonna be like the Obtain? Is it gonna be like the Faith 1 where they just put those out, didn't do anything to them after they were put out except update the app here or there? I mean, neither of those drones received any firmware updates, so they just don't have a good history. I'm hoping that for you, Bill, that they do actually put the time and effort to make this little drone better.
Anyway,
at some point, John, they have to, at some price point, they have to, make the drone a little future-proof. I realize for the cheaper drones, once they make it and put it out, they don't have any more budget left to do anything to it. But at this price range, they should be able to support it at least through a year with firmware updates and upgrades to get it right.
John's trying to just put me in my grave right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's already bad enough, unfortunately, that they released it with the way they did, with the track record that they have. I always say this, and it blows my mind, especially as somebody who gets the stuff for review, that manufacturers will send out a drone that the features are not done. The features are not ready.
There's not that many bad. There's one review, and you heard Ron at the top of the show tell you that Sean doesn't know anything about toy drones. I myself told you that that's all cured if you use an Android phone, and you bind it.
You understand the repeater.
Yeah, you understand that you need to turn the drone on first and then turn on the controller. So that, other than that, it's rock solid. You saw the video. Everybody, even John was talking about the color profile.
All color profile looks nice.
To me, it's a Xeno. It's an OG Xeno with a much better camera. Is what my personal opinion of. And
and it's 2 years later. It should have a better camera. It's 2 years newer.
Yeah, it's 2 years later. That's the other thing, right? It's 2021, so expectations are a little higher.
But the only other reviews that you really see out about it show people using it and liking it, and people saying that it flies fast. I don't ever fly my drones to see how fast they fly. I don't know.
Well, Bill, forget about fast. Did it fly stronger than the Zeno 1? Did it seem like it'd be better in the wind than the Zeno 1?
The camera handles fine in the wind, but the drone dances around. Like when it was say 12 mile an hour, 14 mile an hour gusts, that those pictures, and it was hanging pretty good. So, you know.
Hey, you know what? I tell you what, if they get that thing out to Banggood or Ishin or whatever, and then they call it the EX. What are they even up to now, Ron? We'll just call it what, the EX7 or something like that. We'll just throw that name. If they take that drone even as it is and sell it for 170 or 180, people will buy it. People will, I think, would buy that thing. Yeah, because you got to look at what else is out there, right? But it all comes down to the price. It all comes down.
The biggest thing. Well, here's the thing. There's a ton of stuff in that app, and if they could actually get it all to work, I guess I need to get a screen recorder, and so I can show you.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of people have made videos and showed that. I've seen it in a couple of different videos. The settings. Well, you're the first person to tell me. Most people don't tell you what works and what doesn't work in the settings, and you've done that, Bill.
Well, I'm not gonna. But it does have. It's kind of a unique zoom feature, I guess you'd say, and it basically uses the 4K to crop, and so it's got like a full screen, a wide, and a narrow. So you can, I guess, for Instagram uploading. I don't know. So
YouTube Shorts.
It may be something like that. I just thought it was kind of funny. Anyway, we've wasted way too much time, and we need to get started. So at this point in time, our professor, and I will switch places with him, will take over and tell us what we're going to do this week for Getting Your 107.
Thank you, Bill. Well, we covered, Remote Pilots 101.com's lesson 1 last week. So this week we're going to, last month, sorry. So this week we're going to do lesson 2, which is all about airspace. And Bill and I were chatting a little bit about airspace. He had a sectional map of his local area. We'll get to it in a few minutes. But in lesson 2, some of the topics are what Class B airspace is, what Class C airspace is, Class D, Class E and G, and then they talk about other airspaces that don't fall into those numbers. And then we talk about AGL and MSL. We all know, AGL is above ground level, but a lot of people may not know what MSL means. And then we'll get into a little bit of advanced airspace and military training routes, which, believe me, on the test, the military training routes do come up, well, at least on the version of test I took. And we'll cover TRSAs and we'll review Class E airspace. So, Bill, how do you want to start? What did you do the last time? You kind of threw out a few questions to the audience, and your audio is gone, Bill.
My audio.
I thought he muted himself on purpose there.
Yeah, I think I did. Basically, the reason it's your run, teacher, teach us. It's all on you. Remember, I was telling you in the beginning that I didn't get that far through this week, and I'm behind, and you're gonna have to make me stay after class, and I'm not going to deny
behind as well, Ron.
I'm not going to deny to it. So, Professor, please teach us.
We've slacked off this week, Ron.
Chat up because I'm going to ask a few questions, but I've already lost the pop-up chat to me. Windows open. Okay. Does anybody know? We have different colors represent different, lines around airports. Does anybody know what the color of the line around a Class B airport is? Well, I find my pop-up chat again, which is hiding someplace around here. I think I've lost it.
You want to know what color is Class B airspace?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta give I've lost my pop-up chats. I can't see what the audience is saying.
So far, no answers. I guess I need over here. That's what happened.
I gotta totally go get my.
We've got blue. We got lots of blue. We got Texas Arc drone guy saying blue. We've got Covaction dronography saying blue. We got Joni Drone Flyer saying blue. We got Arco saying blue. We got okay, green, unicorn.
Well, that is correct. B is the correct answer. Now I've got my pop-up chat back, but I've lost my remote 101 window. So
Just
bear
guess
with
all
me.
the colors.
It's all
Eventually, you'll
good.
get
I
one.
try
all
to
good.
recover that.
We got the people cutting up in class here. Orange, pink, off. Oh wow. Polka dot. Hey, there we go. What airspace is polka dot?
So I got to get logged back in again. I'm all messed
It's
up
perfectly fine.
No worries, Ron.
And to answer the question of what airspace is polka dot, it depends on what video game you're playing.
Why don't we do some review questions while he's looking?
All right, hit us,
You got any
review man.
review questions?
Do I? Oh
Do you have any review
man,
questions?
this is no. Oh well, okay. What is AGL? That's one that he's going to go over with. What is AGL? Oh wait, did I see Rob? Was Rob here? Hey Rob! There's Rob right there. Magenta. Ooh, no polka dots. Above ground level.
Just answers. There you go.
Above ground level. Okay, you can throw a review question, John.
Sure. Let me pull up. Let me pull up my panel here. We got to help Ron out. We got to help Ron out a little bit here. What do we got here?
How far do you have to fly beneath clouds? How far do you have to be below clouds to fly legally?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. That is a good question.
That's a good question, but I didn't see it pop up when I took the test.
Well, I'm pretty sure they don't give everybody the same one, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You might know this, but it did come up on mine. But that is a good one.
There we go. 500, 500, 500, 500.
Yeah,
there we go.
They know it.
Are you locked in?
Greg got it. Ken got it. John
right.
also got it.
Ron's almost locked in.
Okay, how about this one? Okay, we talked about AGL, which we all know, but what does MSL mean? And that did come up on my test more than once.
MSL.
I do. I know what it is.
MSL. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Ooh. Good one.
It's math. It's a math term, folks.
Mean sea level. Mean sea level.
Yep.
I mean sea level.
They had the correct answer. Mean sea level. So definitely know that. And on a most of the times on the like the charts, if you look at a sectional chart and you see pictures of the height and the floor, usually they're in mean sea level, and lots of times the mean sea level is the top number. If you see, different numbers like on towers and things like that, the top one's mean sea level. Bill, do you have a tower? Can you find a tower on that sectional map?
I'm sure there's one down.
That gives the two heights, the top one, which is mean sea level, and the lower one, which is in AGL.
You would think there would be one around SeaTac, but I don't see nothing. Do you?
I don't. Of course, it's real. I'm seeing a small version, but I do not see one.
What's the other chart? Maybe I can find the other chart.
Well, the sectional chart. What other chart besides the sectional chart would you mean?
No, the more defined charts. Shit, that was what we're supposed to be studying this week. It was the other charts, the ones that are like a bigger airport, like a Class B airport.
Okay, yeah.
What are those charts called?
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize they had a different name.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not kind of feel like I'm going to go. Okay. Anyway, just keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So we couldn't find a tower, but okay. So Bill's class. You had a magenta line there, right, Bill, around your airport?
Yeah. Let's take a look real quick. Oh,
here we go.
See it.
TAC charts.
Charts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I see? Can I see the map again? I want
Oh
to
yes,
see
yes,
the.
yes.
Can
We
anybody
know that.
tell me what class airport is Bill's in? What is his area?
Ooh, let's take a look.
Okay, okay. This is SeaTac. Let me make sure.
I guess it's yellow, so that would be
Wait a minute. My airport is up here. This is where I live, right here.
Mikey Special level.
But it looks like you have a magenta line all around that area, including your area, correct?
Right. This is coming from this. Can you see if you can see my cursor?
Okay.
That's coming from SeaTac. That's all. And SeaTac is like, well, I don't know, 20 miles away, 25 miles away. Is right here's the airport. You can
And
see
what does SeaTac stand for, Bill?
Class D.
Seattle, Tacoma.
Okay. So that's your call. You gotta know those 3-letter abbreviations for the airports too. A lot of times they'll ask you questions about weather, and in the little thing you have to figure out, it doesn't say the city. It just gives the
you mean it gives like the call letters like
no, it's like every airport has that like a 3-letter abbreviation.
KPAE, yeah.
Yeah, so you have to know that. Now Seattle's not one of the the sample ones they have in in remote 101 part 107 scores or 101 scores, but it's good to know. So Bill, you're in a magenta, you're in a class C.
Okay.
Right? Is that correct? You have the large magenta line going all the way around this area. Now you have different areas inside, but it's all inside a class C, right?
What's weird is when and see, actually looking at this right now is what's blowing my mind.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Apparently, this is fishing out. Okay, because from SeaTac, if anybody in the chat sees this, I'm trying to look and see what's going on. It appears that all of this is coming as a result of SeaTac, and it just feathers out more and more. And where I was behind in class, and I'm not going to deny, I don't know where all this petitioning is back here because, okay, like at my airport here, if I go to get Lance approval.
Now, does Everett have their own airport?
I was just going to ask, what does it tell you when you do the approval?
It's D.
D, yeah, that's what you've told me in the past.
Well, do you see D? Okay, look, I don't have a pointer, but look around you have that dotted blue line.
Yeah, and it's really
inside the C, which is common.
Okay.
But technically, where I'm wait a minute. I might just be just outside this. Like I think I'm like right over here.
Right outside the D?
Right outside of the C.
Okay.
So that would put me in the D or the D for the Everett. You see what I'm saying? I think I'm here. Here's the line, right? And it goes up and over and everything. But no, I really don't. I think more I think about it, I think I'm like right here.
All right, so just to confirm one thing though.
So I don't know.
You don't want your drone to go into the light blue under any circumstance.
What is this?
Right?
Everybody's
that I think we at least all know. We don't want the drone to go into the light blue.
No, but it's tripping me out tonight.
Well, without getting
Nobody
approved
caught that.
first.
Look, right here.
No. I'm saying we don't want the drone to go into the light blue under any circumstance.
Let me see. Let me get back over here. Can we
Hold
see?
There you go.
What class that says?
Nobody caught that. Who in the chat caught that?
Class C. Everett Class D.
Class D. Okay.
Right there. So, but by looking at this, I'm in C, right?
I don't know. Go to ArcGIS.
Wait. Here's the deal. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. We've got a lot of people talking.
Ron, wow.
I probably ignored everybody that's giving me the answer in the chat. Wait, D stands for danger.
Danger. There you
That's how
go.
I remember. Danger, Will Robinson.
Yeah.
Isn't that a mode C line for ATC? Ron?
Pardon? I was reading chat.
Well, Casey, you're saying your airport's class D.
Yeah, your airport in class D.
Okay, so right here, he's saying, wait. that Class D airport is SCF to, okay, from the surface to 3,100. Okay, I got that. Where did I see? Where do you see surface to 3,100? Let me look again.
Hey, Bill, right around you's a tower.
What, up here?
See the tower? Like it's got the 866
Oh, yeah.
level
Right here.
and the
And there's another one up
245
here, too.
above AGL.
Right here.
Yeah.
And then there's towers here. What are these, Ron?
That is the it could be
Hang on,
skydiving parachutes.
Let me do this. Maybe it would be better to do this. Oh, so yeah, we do have parachutes near us.
Yep, that's your parachutes.
So that's how close.
Bill, guess what? That came up on my official Part 107 test.
Okay, so this right here is very close to me. So Snohomish, which is, so I'm probably like right about here where these look like paper airplanes are. What are these paper airplanes, Ron?
You know, I forget. They
look like sideways towers.
They look like towers, honestly.
Yeah, they look like maybe they're cell towers.
No, I forget.
Why would they be off to the side? That's really
Wait a minute. What's anybody telling me? Come on, tell me. Let's see. Jumpers. I don't know.
That's what they be jumpers, parachuters.
Are they jumping from the parachutes? No way.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, because he was saying
I see them similarly along to the lower right of the map as well. You can see those things. Maybe they're power lines. Are they power lines? High voltage power line indicators?
What are they saying? Jumpers.
Well, jumpers, talk about the parachuters.
Okay, so
those are cell towers. Okay.
Said that is an airport called Harvey. That is not a control tower. I don't understand what you mean. I guess I should have studied.
Ron, do you know what he means?
I should have studied.
Not all airports have control towers.
That's true.
That's what he means. It's not all of them have control towers, and you can probably tell because some of the little airports they don't even have like the numbers like the see the little C for the CTAF call signal around Harvey, but some of the little airports do not even have the CTAF because they don't have a tower.
Right.
And see the little airport where the parachutes are. See how that little the direction of that arrow shows you what angle the runway is there.
Oh, this right here where it's going this way. No, okay. I was thinking that was part of the thing going around Everett.
Yeah, Ron, I have a question. Do they at least give you what these symbols mean when you're looking at one of these maps?
When you go take a test, it's on a computer, but they give you a booklet and all that stuff's in the front of what they call the legend. Not everything's in there, but a lot of this stuff's in the legend in front where they show you what symbol means what,
Oh, okay. Thank God.
But it's not 100% of these things are in there, but a large portion are in that legend booklet they give you.
Okay.
You could probably get a copy of that legend book. So
I think you can. I think it's even a link through Remote 101.
Oh, okay, cool.
Very cool.
Now see to the look to the east there. You see that little R that's sort of to the east and south around Kyle's?
Right here, yeah.
Yeah, that R, that's a private airport, and even the name Kyle, see the PVT, I think, but if you see an R symbol, you know that's a private airport.
Okay, and so what does the 400-18 mean? Or oh my Lord, my dog just farted. Oh!
I don't know, Bill, unless that's some kind of a radio call thing, which I don't think it is, but I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Sorry, Bill.
Keep going.
Now this airport over to the north, to the east is First Air. Now it has a 122.9 CTAF call signal, and they give on my test, my official test, I got a whole bunch of the CTAF call number questions.
Okay. Well, that's good.
But Bill, you have an interesting airspace here, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, it's really interesting.
And look, Bill, to the left, to the west there, to the west north, you have like a kind of a restricted airspace there that Chinook.
Wow. Okay, sorry.
You taking in that fart, huh? Nice big deep breaths.
I had to run away, man. I had to run away.
And Bill, what's that restricted zone to the west there, the west and south, that Bangor? See with the blue lines around it?
The west and south.
Military area or something?
That's the no fart zone.
Yes, don't let your dog fart. Where? Oh, okay, over here.
Is that a military base?
Yes.
There's the blue lines. It's like a restricted area, and not all restricted areas are militaries, but I think the blue may indicate they're military restricted areas.
Yeah, because there's a Navy base here and a seaport and stuff over here.
Mm-hmm.
Everett has like a seaport up here.
Now, let me here is saying that
military
operations area, not restricted.
Here's a good question for you guys. Could you fly, John? Could you fly in that blue restricted area?
Let's see the blue restricted area. I'm seeing a lot of blue. Can you point it out?
The DFW area is always in the test. Blue is restricted and prohibited.
Okay, so then the answer is no.
You can.
Maybe Ken should be in here with us, telling us what we're doing. All right. Anyway,
Gotcha.
wait a minute. Yes, you can. What?
Yeah, see, Ken's right there. You have to find out whether it's is it hot or cold, whether it's active or not. If it's not active, you can fly in it. But if it's active, you can.
So I'm seeing a lot. Like look at Bremerton National Airport there. They've got 123.05 and then C next to it. And they've also got one.
Did you see this?
Oh.
He called and got permission.
Well,
okay. Yep. Good men down there in Florida.
Super cool.
So is that the radio frequency that you can contact? Them on,
you don't really contact. They don't want you calling them, but you can monitor air traffic on there and alerts. So
okay.
in remote 101, part 101, he has he recommends a radio, and he just recommends you that radio on while you're flying, so you can hear if there's any alerts or anything going on. You'll know what the what do you call the air traffic guys telling the real planes.
Gotcha, and so those numbers would be the frequency to
you would dial in your radio, but yeah, they don't want you contacting the the towers.
Right, only to fly a drone they want you to contact the towers.
Right. Well, even you do, to get permission, you do all that through apps and things now. So yeah, it's changed a lot.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Can't put up a good 1-800-WX brief. That's you learn at it in Remote 101 also. That's a website where you can go and get maps and all sorts of information. Yeah. See the Arch Joe guy says you should never contact the tower, and he's correct.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't gotten to this section in our Remote Pilot 101. I took a break from doing it, so this is just nice to go over. I feel like people freeze about these sectional charts, but Ron, do you feel that if you just study the stuff and you take the time to memorize legends and just go over example after example, I feel like eventually you must be able to know it like the back of your hand.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, I don't know every little thing, but I know what remote Pilot 101 taught to pass the test. There's a lot I don't know, but I learned what I thought I needed to learn to pass tests. Bill?
Yeah, it looks like if you just take this thing one piece at a time, you learn it. Like you look at this, and some people's brains just want to freeze. It's like, what the hell is this? But it all means something. And you kind of quickly, just even from talking to you tonight, I get an idea of what all this. I'll have an idea of what all this means the next time I see it, just from what we've gone over, because it's really the symbols don't change, right? So
And you see various numbers. You see the blue numbers where it's like in the middle, right in the middle of the map to the north. There's a 100/30, right?
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
there.
I was gonna ask what the hell is that?
And then to the left, you see like a 70/50. It depends. See the blue lines. It depends on what zones in there. The height changes. So like
But I understand what that means.
yeah, the floor basically. We're not too worried about the high number because we're not flying that high, but the floor changes constantly. Whenever you see numbers like that 100/30, you put 2 zeros on the other end of them. They always abbreviate it. So 3,000 is the floor in the middle of the map, but over
Up
here
to 10,000.
it's like 5,000. It changes, and that depends on where the airport and where the flight patterns are for them coming in.
Okay.
And then they show you, if you look, and the runways will show you the flight path of their landing and takeoffs, and it's really cool. And it
so let's shorthand for 1,000 basically.
Right.
Got okay, cool. So
then unless it says like SFC, which is surface to whatever the top number is.
Okay.
So, all right,
Very
Ron,
cool.
you need to be asking questions. More questions.
Where are we time? Well, should I start going over the quiz questions? So we gave people to have a background here.
However you want to do. Do you want me to?
Okay, we got 7 questions in this lesson here, so we're going to go over them a little bit, and we'll try to explain. We'll try to explain what not to tell you what the answer is, but why it's the answer. Okay, number 1, question 1. On a VFR sectional chart, what do the blue hash marks indicate? Okay, so we'll let I did figure it out, Mike, that you changed your name. So while we're thinking over the answers, I'm going to shout out some names here. We got RC Funds Diversions in here with us tonight. Place to hear, of course. TX Arch Drone Guy, which I think is Mike Wright. We got Stingray Arrows in here with us tonight. Go back a little bit. Brad Arrows, Drone Shots. Place it here. Fly Zone. Quadcopter is joining us tonight. Xvana was in here. Johnny Drone Flyer was in here. Greg Pittman. John Olson. Sammy Burns. Let's see here. Marcel Off Axis. FPV Robert. And I think I've gone back pretty far. I think Mikey Blade was in here. Kovac Drone Photography. So I think I've got everybody. So we'll go back to see what the answers are here. So nobody's given an answer yet to this.
I see Class D.
Oh, okay.
What was the question?
I was slow here. Okay.
What was the question?
On a VFR section chart, what do the blue hash marks indicate?
The blue hash marks.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Did I ever give him the answers here? Okay, the three answers are: it could be number 1, a restricted area; number 2, Class A airspace; or 3, a wildlife refuge. So again, the 3 answers were restricted area, number 1; number 2, Class A airspace; and number 3, wildlife refuge. Does anybody?
And what was it? Can you say the question again?
On a VFR sectional chart, that's what we're looking at right now. What do the blue hash marks indicate?
The blue hash marks indicate.
Blue hash marks.
No, John Cuppi doesn't. And I don't either. No. We're working on it right now.
Right. Yeah.
John Olson says restricted. Ken says, what's the question again? He says, what do the blue hash marks indicate on a sectional chart?
Restricted area, Class A airspace.
Yeah, John said restricted first. And then Ken said hash marks restricted second.
And we did cover that. Remember, I asked about what was in Bangor.
Was that the first answer? Is that the wait?
Cover that in the trading.
Wait, can I ask you? Is that the number one answer? Is that answer A?
It is. It's a restricted area.
Then Texark got it first because he put 1.
Okay, he did.
All right, very cool.
Which with that's Michael Wright. I guess that's Michael Wright's new name.
Oh, okay.
And Michael Wright is a certified Part 107 pilot. So, good job there.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool.
Okay, so let's hit restricted and move on to the next one here.
All righty.
And I didn't pull up the answers, so I'm working along here with us too. Okay, number 2 of 7. What class airspace does not require approval before entering? And as usual, there's three options. Number 1, Class E airspace, and we didn't really cover Class E airspace unless sorry. Class G airspace, which we did not cover either, but we did cover Class C airspace. So which one does not require approval before entering?
G. I think most people know that. Well, I shouldn't say that.
Well, everybody's that's what the answers are.
2G and 3C.
Oh, what would you say? 1G and 2C is what you said?
Number 1 is E airspace. Number 2 is G airspace.
Okay, so yeah, they're saying 2G and they're saying G, 2. So yes, they're getting it.
Michael Wright, Greg Pittman, Fly Zone. You guys are good. Brand Arrow's got it. So everybody knows they're Class G. Is your unrestricted airspace. I'm a big fan of flying in Class G. That map that Bill just showed up there, unless unfortunately Bill lived in that area, I would never even attempt to fly a drone in there, so I wouldn't have to worry about all that.
Well, I live a little further north.
Yeah.
Well, it's why I fly my drone the way I do. I have to go to odd places to be able to fly. Or my backyard.
That works too.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, now, this is going to be a tough one because I don't know how I can show the sectional map. You've been hired by a farmer to use your small unmanned aircraft to inspect his crops. That area that you are to survey is in the Devil's Lake West military operation area, east of Area 2. How would you find out if the MOA is active? And they give you a figure in that, but maybe I can share this.
All right.
We have an FFA question here.
Okay, so let me see.
No, nobody got that. Okay.
Share.
Okay. Nobody. Maybe somebody did. I don't know.
Okay, I think this will work. Okay.
All right. Ron's got us a share going.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Okay, now I'll read the question one more time now that the map's up. I know it's small up there. Sorry.
Yeah.
You have been hired by a farmer to use your small unmanned aircraft to inspect his crops. The area that you are to survey is in the Devil's Lake MOA, and that's military operation area, east of Area 2. How would you find out if the MOA is active? You look at figure 21. So, okay, the Devil's Lake West MOA. Now, you'd have to find this map, but it's so small. I'm going to help you, people. It's on the extreme eastern side of the map, kind of in the southern, kind of center southern part. You see a blue magenta hash line all the way around it. Okay, so and that's really no bearing on the question. It's just how do you know if it's active or not? And here are the 3 questions. You refer to the military operations directory. That's number 1. Number 2, you locate the information in the small USA database. And number 3, you refer to the legend for special use airspace phone number.
Can I see can you read the answers again?
Yes. Okay. Number 1 was you refer to the military operations directory, John.
Okay.
I happen to have it close by. Number 2, you locate the information in the small USA database.
Okay.
And number 3, you refer to the legend. You spoke about legends a little bit earlier for the special use airspace phone number.
Oh, that's what you were talking about earlier, the 1-800-WX. Okay.
Yeah, well, this isn't the same phone number as the CTAS or not the phone number, but the radio thing that we were talking about. This is a real phone number.
Yeah, I have no clue, but if I was just gonna guess, I would pick 3.
Yes, Ken is saying 3. Greg is saying 3.
Oh, okay.
Mike's saying
maybe I can
1.
guess my way to a 107.
Mike's
After
saying
all.
I guess, hey, yeah, John, you just go in and think your way through.
Well, we've got different
I mean,
answers.
I'm just trying to think about it. Like,
We have different answers.
Yeah, Michael Ray has a number. He picked number 1.
Oh, you picked number 1.
We have 2 number 3s. And we have 2 number 1s.
Actually, we have another number 3 because John said number 3.
Oh yeah, Cuppi.
What's the answer, Ron? What do we got?
It is, drum roll, it is number 3. Refer to the legend for special use airspace phone number.
Well, see, earlier Michael was saying use your phone and call.
Yes,
this is kind of tricky. This is kind of a tricky question in a way.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate the answer is, but that would be the answer if this came up when you were in there taking the Part 107 exam.
Gotcha.
Because once Jason Shepard goes over this in great detail in the course here.
Oh, in one of the videos they go over this specifically?
Yeah,
okay.
He definitely goes over this question.
Oh, okay.
So that was number 3. Okay, number 4. On a VFR sectional chart, a dashed blue line indicates what? Number 1, Class E airspace. Number 2, Class G airspace. Or number 3, Class D airspace.
Well, we just talked about what a dashed blue line was, right?
We said restricted, right?
Well,
right.
that's a different, that's a hash. That's a hash blue line.
Oh, a hash.
This is a dashed, not a hash.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, I'm all confused.
You get tricky, John.
I'm confused even worse. Now, do I need to stop sharing this?
Yeah, you can get rid of that.
All right. So, what's the difference in a dashed and a hashed? Or wait a minute, a dashed and a stashed? Or a hashed and
dash and a hash. What's the difference between a dash?
Yes, there we go. There we go.
One?
Dash and they are different in pretty much everything.
Stingray says they're different.
Right, I have misheard.
Okay, you saw again. We'll refer back to our training. When I showed you that area Bangor, and I asked Bill why it was restricted, he said they had military stuff in there. You saw how that had a million blue lines going back and forth. Where a dash one.
Oh, like right here, the Chinook MOA right here, and it's like different color completely.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's not the question we got a while ago was the blue one. Go down a little bit.
Right here, yeah,
the Bangor one.
Bangor one.
That's what we talked about a few minutes ago, and that's.
But
hash.
the dash lines are
that's hash, not dashed.
Up here, the dash lines are around my airport.
See the magenta line that's dashed. Okay, they want to know what a blue line like that magenta one means. They want to know
what's a blue one like this one mean around my little airport.
It's dashed. So
your airport has it. Yeah, I got that now.
Yeah.
So, but what is a blue dash?
What is a blue dash? Is it Class E, Class G, or Class D? And that's one is E, two is G, and 3 is D.
Well, I think it literally says it right there on the map, right?
But he's saying mine's a different color.
Well, we know the answer is not number 2 because Class G would not be the dash. So it's between E and D, right? Those are the.
I mean, John, what John's doing there is perfect. When you go in and take this test, almost one of the answers you could throw right out. One of the answers doesn't make any sense at all. Like there would be no line for Class G because it's unrestricted. So John is a good test taker. He throws out the obvious wrong answer. So now you're down to a 50-50 chance.
Right.
Yeah, you do. So it's either what was one was C.
It's either number 1 E or number 3 D. Since John figured out that the answer could not possibly be.
Well, we were just talking about how this is D, right? So
Wait.
I'm gonna go with D. I'm gonna go with Class D.
Ryan, what's
Oh
up,
my goodness.
Ryan?
The drone and e-bike man.
Oh, Brian, welcome. Brian hasn't been feeling too well lately. Welcome back to Brian.
He wants to get
Welcome
his
back,
109. He wants to get his 109. It has more clout.
Oh,
Right, you got to have that clout, Brian.
E has dashed magenta. There are other Class E's as well. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, okay, folks. The answer here is Class D. A dash blue is Class D.
okay, so that's
dash
what
flow.
as I showed you on my Kitty Hawk app, my airport is Class D. So this should be blue dashed, but instead it's magenta, right?
No, that little circle one that does look
That's blue. Yeah, it's blue.
It seems a different color from this, yes. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a blue dash, Bill. So you are right. You're Class D.
Yep.
That's what Kim was
Okay.
saying. All right.
Well, we're doing good, folks. We got 4 out of 7. Sorry, Ron's developed a little bit of cough here. Let me get a.
Okay, we were trying to get everything in with an hour. I've got to go do a honeydew.
Okay, we're going to go just a little bit overtime here, but we only have 3 more questions, so we'll go through them a little bit faster.
Okay.
Okay, 5 of 7. When can you not operate in a restricted airspace? We kind of covered this already. So this is when you cannot operate in restricted airspace. Number 1, anytime as long as you don't violate the right of way of military aircraft. Number 2, when it's inactive. Number 3, when it's active. And we've already discussed this, so it should be an easy one.
Yeah. Number 2. I'm going with number 2.
Well, wait a minute, Bill. Read the question carefully because this is how they trick you up. When can you not operate in a restricted airspace?
Well, wait a minute. Say that again.
When can you not operate in a restricted airspace?
Okay, give me the answers again.
Okay. Number 1, anytime as long as you don't violate right of way of military aircraft. And like as John did before, you could throw that one out. That's totally bogus.
Right.
You know. Okay. Number 2, when it's active. Number 3, when it's number 2 is when it's inactive, and number 3 is when it's active.
You know what threw me off when you were saying, "Well, we've already talked about this," so I was thinking, and then that's what I should have listened to the question instead of your directives.
Okay, so we got John Olson 3, Greg Pittman 3, Fly Zone 3, Drone Guy 3, and they are correct. You cannot operate in a restricted area when it's active, and we know how to find out when it's active. We already said we use the but
Right.
I'm tongue tied here. That last question where you use the thing and you call in.
Use the thing and you call in.
Yeah, we just covered this a couple questions ago.
Yeah, I know, but you should use the thing.
Yeah, I'm tongue. I can't spit out. We just said it a few minutes ago.
The thing. I don't
But
remember.
anyhow,
John, do you remember the thing?
But the point is,
younger than Ron, and we're forgetting everything.
and the point is, we cannot operate.
Airspace legend.
Legend. Thank you.
Ken's holding us in line, man.
He is. He really is.
So it's okay. So we understand we cannot operate when it's active. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot that.
Oh, that's good. That's good. We're good.
Okay. Number 6 of 7. On a VFR sectional chart, a solid blue line indicates what? Number 1, Class E airspace. Class 2, restricted airspace. Number 3, Class B airspace. So we kind of covered this also in our lesson. So a solid blue line indicates what? Number 1, Class E airspace. Number 2, restricted airspace. Or number 3, Class B airspace. Let's see. The answers are coming in. We got a Class B and
3. We got 1, 2. Let's see a C.
Okay, now remember we said a solid blue line, not hash or dash. Solid blue line.
Solid blue. Class B. Then we got a B and a B. Then we got a 3.
These guys are good, Bill. Class B airspace is the answer for as a solid blue line, and that's for a big airport. A Class B would be for like Dallas Fort Worth, LaGuardia, New York. What's the big one in North Jersey, John?
They would have a TAC chart for that.
Newark Airport.
Newark Airport. They would all be big Class B. Philadelphia International.
They
all
would have TAC charts for those airports.
Okay, 7 to 7, our last one of the night. On a VFR sectional chart, a solid blue, solid magenta line indicates what? The solid magenta. Number 1, Class D airspace. Number 2, Class C airspace. And number 3, Class B airspace. So I'll go over one more time. Solid blue magenta line indicates what? Number 1, D airspace. Number 2, C airspace. Number 3, B airspace. And this is kind of what Bill's. This is the outer rim of Bill's thing here.
Right.
And he's saying
answers coming in.
Everybody's saying C, Class C.
But we kind of talked a little bit about that earlier,
it's a Class
right?
C. Yep.
With the magenta meant so.
And see, Bill's Class D is inside a bigger Class C.
Right.
Kinda, but it's weird how it seems like I don't understand why. Maybe because it's on the outer edge or something. That's why it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, some of it actually goes outside of the upper part of it goes outside of your Class C.
But where I'm sitting at, I would be actually in CTEX Class C.
Mm-hmm.
But for where I'm in the airport's envelope, I guess I get that range. But regardless, I'm still getting. You can see right here, I'm getting 6,000 to 7,000. So where I can only go 400 feet up anyway, I'm getting plenty of room. I got plenty of room to fly around up here. I get 200 feet every day without any issues. I get automatic clearance to fly 200 feet, which is cool. And that's enough for me to test out this little drone. But I don't want anybody thinking, that there's I don't see these bad review things about the little C fly.
And just to finish up here, Bill, we got the results up here. We got 7 out of 7 questions answered correctly tonight.
Oh yeah, and John and I didn't get any of them right.
Yep.
and Placer here he got them all right.
Yeah, Ken was on the ball. He was on everything. Good to see you. Rolled in at the end.
Oh, Night Train, how you doing?
Stingray Ariel asked an interesting question. I was curious. I was curious if you knew if you knew about it. So he asked, "What happens to Class D airspace when the airport or whatever closes down at night?"
I don't know about Class D, but I know I've read on the test like when a Class E, when they close down at night. A lot of the restrictions go away. I'm not saying it's totally unrestricted, but a lot of the restrictions go away at Class E when it closes at night, and you are able to, fly more there than you could have while they were open.
That's what I've heard as well, and I've heard that in two different situations. There were some people flying close to Jeff City here, and when the area flooded, the airport closed down, and people were getting video of the floods, and some people were like, well, how are you doing that? You're flying so close to the airport. And they were insisting that, well, the restrictions are diluted because the airspace is not as restricted because the airport's closed. But I didn't know if that was true or not.
Do you know what class airport that is near you?
Jeff City. I don't know which one.
Here's what I'm getting at, John. I don't know how that would apply to a bigger airport. Like, say if a Class C was closed for some reason, I don't know if they would, not put the restrictions in at that point, but for a smaller Class E, it definitely goes. A lot of restrictions definitely go away when they're closed for the night.
And even more interestingly, St. Louis, the airport in St. Louis, closes from, I forget what it is, like 5 a.m. until I think 6:30-ish, something like that, or maybe it's 4 a.m. to 6:30. And I saw somebody fly the Arch a few years ago, and in the video they put a thing up saying, we actually have this short window to fly the Arch in with lesser restricted air. Of course, now you can't do that anymore because the Arch is banned. But I seem to remember that too.
Okay, so wait a minute.
But that's because the airport's closed, and I know it's closed because I've been there when it's closed.
Do you see what he's saying here? So technically, I shouldn't be able to fly here. At least because I would be in a different airspace. Because he's saying whatever the higher is that you might encompass, even if it's just part of that airport, that the higher one would govern.
But if you look on that sectional map, they'll have like floors or whatever in different areas. So you have to check what the floor is in yours, and maybe you can get a waiver to fly if you stayed under that floor.
Well, I only fly 200 feet anyway, so I don't think they really
so maybe you could apply for a waiver that would let you fly under the.
Oh no, I could actually apply to go up. Possibly if there's no flight plan, I can go up to 400 feet, but I would actually have to go that extra mile in order to get that. And as a hobby pilot, I really don't need to.
You see, this is interesting because, like you, Ron, I've never had to deal with layers and, layers of different kinds of airspace. If I'm flying somewhere, it's typically either been Class G or it's really simple and it's Class D and there's nothing else around.
Yeah. I mean, the closest airport to me is Atlantic City, and so it's a Class C. You wouldn't think a little airport like that would be Class C, but it's a military airport too. That probably would be the C. Well, fortunately, I don't live anywhere around there. I would never even consider going up there, even requesting a waiver to fly there. I just wouldn't even want to deal with that or whatever. But luckily, even though I'm a Part 107, I'm not a professional pilot. So nobody's going to call me and say, come over there and do a real estate shoot in that restricted airspace and get all these waivers. So I'm lucky in that respect.
Yeah, exactly. And, similar for me here, too. I mean, the regional airport here is a Class D. If it was military, I'm sure it would be C. But it's very, very easy to get approval here, and I don't even really worry about it. There's maybe, 20-ish flights a day that go out of there. It's not very busy airport.
Right. For me, there's no better scenery over by the airport than it is any place else. It's nothing... It's not any more scenic over there anywhere near the airport than go on any other place. So, I could see if an airport was built in the most scenic area in your location, then that may be a reason to, go to all the trouble getting the waivers and figuring out all the floors and all that. But, for me.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. Yeah. It's really just not worth it.
So how do you think we did tonight, Bill? Did you guys learn something?
I certainly did, Ron.
That we need to study instead of half-assing it for class.
Well, I think you could already, and John showed with him. I think you guys could almost fake your way through, this part of the, the test with what you got already.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Like I understand. My biggest thing is being able to get a sectional chart that's blown up big enough to where I won't get confused with the lettering and the figures and stuff like that.
Well, that was the toughest part for me because I did the course with my 27-inch 5K iMac. So, of course, I could zoom in and see the minutest detail. And what Remote 101 does for you, too, He gives you a high-resolution map that then you would be provided a test. So I took a magnifying glass into the test to help me out with the small details. I do recommend anybody that doesn't have good eyes, young eyes, sharp eyes, take a magnifying glass in with you.
All right. So this is interesting. So Place It Here looked up Jefferson City and found out it is Class D. Right. I seem to remember that the issue wasn't necessarily the airspace type would have been a problem to fly in. It's how close they were to the airport would have put them in a zero zone. And what they were arguing is that doesn't apply to them because the airport was completely shut down due to the flooding. That was the whole argument that went back and forth in the Facebook groups, that because the airport was shut down, that restriction didn't apply to them. And I don't know who the hell was right or wrong.
Yeah,
that's what that was about.
I couldn't answer that one either, except I knew, all I can tell you is I think Class E, when they're closed down out of service for the night, because usually, the day, whenever they're not in service, their airspace opens up to where you could fly more. I don't know if it's, totally, but a lot of the restrictions are gone when they're closed for the night.
Right. It's an interesting question, I think. Right. I mean, it's a very unique situation. How often are you going to be flying near a flooded airport in a zero altitude zone?
Right.
But it is an interesting question. I thought it was anyway.
Yeah, and Michael Wright said a four-function calculator can be brought into the test because I guarantee. Well, I can't guarantee it, but you will get the question where they answer they give you a weight and they say how much will this weight affect the something of the well, they don't say, I don't know if they say drone, but and you have to type a calculation. But if you forget your calculator, right when I took it on the screen, it had a button where you could pop up a calculator on the computer screen, and I did the calculation with the built-in calculator. If that's and we'll get to that in a later.
Cool.
No, that's great actually. So we've pretty much covered everything for this month's episode of Getting Your 107 with Professor Ron, and we're very grateful for you not holding us after class and telling us that we need to study. He's getting his revenge for FPV boot camp.
I was gonna, John. There's so many people that have the same question about FPV or whatever. Is there any such a thing as goggles boot camp? Most people, the goggles are their biggest barrier to entry. If you could have a way that people could, train on goggles to get over the fear that they don't think they can use goggles.
There's your goggles boot camp, Ron. You got to go back to the Tiny Hawk and buy the Ready to Fly kit and try again.
How did you get acclimated to using goggles? Or are you just a natural? You put them on one time and you were flying all over the place.
Actually, Ron, the first set of box goggles that I used, I was actually pretty sick. It gave me motion sickness. I was actually not sure that I was going to be able to fly FPV, but I kept flying. I took it easy at first, and then I guess I just got used to it. My eyes just got used to it, and I don't become disoriented anymore. Right? I mean, that's really the way it worked for me. Now, I will say though that when you're in something like Fat Sharks, it's a lot less in your face, and it's more like sitting in the back of a movie theater and looking at the screen. You're sitting in the very back of a theater and you're looking at that movie screen. That's what the Fat Sharks are like. Whereas the box goggles tend to be more like I'm staring right up against the computer screen.
You're in the front row of that movie theater now.
Yeah. You're more in the front row, so it's more in your face.
And how is it if you're using the DJI digital goggles?
More toward the in your face, but even in that goggle, you're outset. I would say it's more like maybe you're like fourth or third row in the movie theater. I don't know how to explain it. Really.
So basically, you're explaining you're in the perfect place in the movie theater while wearing the DJI goggles.
Yeah, in a way. But if you get motion sickness, they can make you sick because it's so immersive. But you can also change your aspect ratio, which helps too. Right, you can change the zoom. Okay. You can change it from 16:9 to 4:3. You can change the zoom. Personally, I like to fly. If I really want to see everything, I fly in the 4:3, and my zoom is 80%. I think it's at 80%.
You know what, Ron? You know what? It sounds to me like we're talking about learning things to get our 107, but it sounds to me like there's so many different things to learn in the world of FPV. It's almost like going down a rabbit hole. And with that being said, I'm leading into next week's show, which is going to be, wait a minute, I think I got this ready. Let's see what happens. Yes, FPV Air Day, down the FPV rabbit hole, which is basically going to be an all-encompassing show, Joe, that John's going to talk about different things about the FPV hobby. I think that this was triggered by a different discussion. Maybe if there's some new material on that particular discussion triggered that name, then they'll talk about that also. And we will also be joined next week by Indigo Rhino. And we will see if our other in-house FPV guys are, free next week and possibly could pop in. So next week, please make sure to join us for FPV Air Day down the FPV rabbit hole with none other than our man, John Cuppi, and be joined by guest Indigo Rhino. And with that being said, I'm going to throw it around the room for everybody to say their good evenings. First, Mr. John Cuppi.
Good evening, guys. We had a great chat. I hope you guys learned stuff. Also, props to the people in the chat who helped keep things going. I definitely learned a lot from the chat, too. You guys were really, really good. And thank you, Ron Brown, for coming out. I hope you feel good after your COVID vaccine and all that. And congratulations. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Ron so he can say his goodnight so we can all get some rest.
Thank you, John. Thanks for sitting in class tonight, and thanks so much, as you pointed out, like people like Michael Wright out there, and Ken, Pleasant here, Greg Pittman, a lot of those, help contribute, to the show there with the answers. You people, sound like you know more than the teacher here, which is a good thing, actually. With many answers and suggestions and stuff is what we're looking for here. So looking forward to the FPV show next week, and we'll get more into the goggles boot camp, because why I brought that up to John is every time I'm on a show and they're talking about the DJI FPV drone, the reason people that aren't not going to get it say they don't get it because they start out by saying they can't wear the goggles. They don't talk about anything about flying or anything. All they're concerned about is the goggles. So that is the barrier to entry on FPV.
Well,
most older people is the goggles.
Well,
so,
I personally get motion sickness.
see?
So if the goggles are that immersive, it might give me some trouble anyway.
And that's to me, that's where that's the only thing that can hurt the sales of the DJI FPV drone. If they're marketing that to especially some older people that had issues with wearing goggles, it may kind of hurt the sales more than a lot of people think. So, but that's going to be an interesting discussion next week. So I'm looking forward to the show.
Cool.
So I'm not going to take any more of you people's time tonight. I want to thank everybody who joined us tonight, and I'm going to throw it back to Bill to wrap this show up, and we'll see you next week.
And I'm very grateful, Ron, to have you here each and every week. John, I'm very grateful to have you here each and every week. Just like, it's people know who, if you do a show by yourself, it's kind of hard sometimes, but you never know. I'm glad to always have him here. And Ron, you made a perfect point. The reason that we're doing this, and that the chat will be here once it all gets processed and everything and done, because this is a teaching mechanism. People can actually watch this show, and then they can go back and see the correct answers. They can see the explanations from the chat and everything, and use this as a teaching tool if they don't want to spend the extra money. But as you can see at the bottom, we support remotepilot101.com. That's where we're learning our stuff from, and that's where we're sharing information to you as well. So please join us next week for our FPV Air Day, where John's taking the lead, and we're gonna have our guest Indigo Rhino with us, and we'll have some fun talking about FPV, maybe a little bit more of goggles boot camp. With that being
said, go down the
said,
rabbit hole. We're gonna go down the FPV rabbit hole.
Yeah, back down the rabbit hole. With that being said, live long and prosper. See y'all next week.